as the Lord Yahweh.
As the Lord Yahweh. Which there's some debate on exactly what that means, but basically it means like, I am. Because at one part where Moses asks, what is your name? He says, I am who I am. That's basically kind of what Yahweh means. It's like to be, to create. So it's kind of harkening back to the idea of a creator, that he is the creator of the universe. Okay?
Yeah, Jews aren't supposed to say Yahweh.
Yeah,
or
that's...
write it.
Why? Will they get burned to ashes?
No.
It's just it's this reverence, this how sacred it is that you're not supposed to say God. Which kind of, as we talk in a minute about taking the Lord's name in vain, obviously I don't think we should go that far, but we should have reverence. How flippantly we sometimes say the Lord's name, whether it's Jesus or God or whatever. Right. How flippantly we say that. We're supposed to be reverent toward God's name, and yet we just kind of, it's not just about saying GD or something like that, or using profanity. It's sometimes just flippantly saying when you're not really talking about God the way you should be. Yeah. That's also what it's talking about more than vain. Alright, so now if you'll put up the next verse, Brian. This is Matthew chapter 22, verse 37 and 38. Oh yeah, if you can get that one, please.
You skip.
Oh yeah, I apologize. Let's read these first. Alright, does anybody want to read one of those? Krista?
What?
You want to read these up here?
Sure,
No.
I'll do it.
Okay.
You shall have no other gods before me. You shall not make yourself a carved image, any likeness of any that is heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under
That's
the
how I
earth.
talk sometimes.
Fancy.
Yeah.
Liar.
Alright, and then continue 7 and 8.
You shall not take the name. You shall not take the name of your Lord in vain. Ooh, I read that wrong.
It's okay. Go.
It's okay.
You
Just
gotta
keep
say
going.
it. For the Lord will not hold him guiltless who takes his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy.
Alright, so now bring up the Matthew chapter 22. Now basically what there are basically two types of commandments. There's 10 commandments, but there's two different types. One, the first 4 are dealing with how our relationship is to God. That's what we've just been reading. Taking his name in vain, honoring the Sabbath, no God before, and stuff like that. The last 6 deal with our relationships with everybody else, okay? So, when Jesus was asked, what's the greatest commandment? This is what he says. He says, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. So when the Pharisees asked him what's the greatest commandment, they were trying to trip him up, because they were wanting him to pick one. But what he does is, he combines the first 4, basically says, to sum them up, it means love the Lord your God with all your heart, with everything you have. And that sums up the first 4 commandments, okay? So, go ahead and write down in that first spot, verse 37, which is the love with regard all the way to your mind, okay? Alright, and then what does Jesus say is the most important command? You can explain it, which is basically just loving God with everything you have.
Now.
Yeah, go and put verse 3 and 4 up there. Alright, so now, using your own words, what are each of the first 4 commandments? And go ahead and write it, then we'll talk about it. But go ahead and write down just by yourself, write down what you think it basically means. And like I said, it's up there now. And the first commandment is no other gods, and then the rest of that's the second commandment. Alright, so what y'all put on the first one?
No other gods.
No other gods?
Yeah, that's what I put.
Just no other gods?
Yeah.
Okay. Does that mean just no other, like you're not worshiping Baal, you're not worshiping the Pharaoh? What does that mean, just no other gods?
Not worshiping like
My phone was dying.
Hannah Montana's my idol. I look up to her.
There you go.
I worship her.
Exactly. And that's the thing is that you can combine, do what, Brian?
I knew it.
What?
What?
Oh, Hannah Montana?
Yeah.
Miley Cyrus isn't your idol, is she?
She has a problem.
Okay,
She
good.
has a
'Cause
problem.
she's went off the deep end. We need to pray for her. She's in
Have you seen? Have y'all seen her new music?
Her hair?
Yeah, no, she's,
No.
yeah, it's
Her
Music
hair.
video.
I'm okay with her
trying
hair.
Barbie pink.
But
no, it's
Pull
okay.
that off.
It's
Huh?
well,
What?
it's a that's the thing. Like, make good decisions because you see where she's headed. It's not in a good direction.
Hannah Montana
so.
was actually my very first concert.
No, that's exciting. All right, but you are correct though, and kind of what both of these first 2 commandments is putting anything before God. And obviously, we're not bowing down to Baal or to any of those type gods today. But anything you put before God, Romans 1:25 talks about we worship and serve the creation and not the Creator. So anything that's not God, any part of creation, because anything not a part of God is obviously a part of the creation because he created it. So anything, any relationship, any material thing, any personal goal you have, yourself, anything you put before God, you would be breaking these commandments. Okay? So, alright, so what y'all put on 3 and 4?
Do not take the Lord's name in vain.
But
And
like,
then-
don't. Oh, go on.
Keep the Sabbath day.
Keep Alright, what, Mary?
I was just gonna elaborate.
Say
Well,
things.
elaborate. Please elaborate.
Like on number 3,
Uh-huh.
don't just kind of joke around and be like, OMG, and whatnot.
Yeah, that actually saying OMG bugs me just
It's annoying.
everywhere.
annoying.
Just like, just say the whole word.
yeah, don't take the Lord's
Like
name in vain.
OMG.
Don't take
It
the
could
Lord's
be
Oh my gosh,
gosh.
it's the same syllable. Like, just.
Or, oh my pancake.
But that's.
Okay,
But
fine.
that's the other thing is
weird.
sometimes
I'll
when
be
you say like,
special.
oh my gosh, and I
I'll
say it
use
sometimes
my
too,
own euphemism.
that's still kind of where you're,
It's like
it's
just like
getting very close to still kind of using God's
beating
name,
around
so.
the bush.
Which,
Like, when you could say the cuss word, so you made up different names for him.
Right.
Yeah,
Like,
instead of.
which
Like,
I mean, that's okay to some
euphemism.
extent, but
by
like
saying,
the
what
gosh
heck?
is still, and like I said, I say that sometimes, but that's still, I think, pushing a little bit far.
Yeah.
Kind of
But like,
taking the
by
Lord's
saying
name.
like, what the heck? It's like.
yeah.
I say
It's definitely
pancake.
better than saying.
Yeah. I remember that was like what I said the whole, like, every single day when I was like 7, I guess, but I didn't know it had like a higher.
Meaning?
Yeah, and so my mom, she was like, don't stop saying that. I don't like it when you say that. I didn't know why she didn't want me saying it, but.
Let's see, but anyways, but the point is though, is that we need to be careful, like I said, just flippantly saying it, the OMG, stuff like that, because like when I hear somebody say GD, like that just like stands out to me. I'm like, whoa, you can't
Yeah.
say that. But in reality, when I say Jesus' name flippantly or something, that's
And
just
it's
as
kind
bad.
of like they say it not meaning
Right.
disrespect. It's just kind of like what they say in certain situations. Like they have nothing else to say, and that's the first thing that comes
Right,
in their
and
mind.
to
And
some extent, it's the people you're around too.
Yeah.
Like I know I was playing volleyball with some of my brother-in-law's families, and the kids don't go to church or anything, and he kept just saying GD. He was just saying dang it. He wasn't saying it. But just like when he kept saying that, I was like, I guess because I'm not around people that say that a lot, it was like just really was not, didn't make me angry, but it was just like it really stood out to me. I was like that, and I don't really like that. And even if it's just dang it or something, you're still taking the Lord's name in vain, but it's just because that's what he's around, that's just what he knows. But we still need to be cautious and make sure we're not doing that, and making sure we're, like I said, giving God's name the reverence that it deserves. Alright, and then what about the fourth one?
like
What'd you say, Eileen? Keep the
Keep the
days,
Sabbath day.
keep the
Wait,
Sabbath day. Okay.
Yeah.
Keep the Sabbath day.
Keep the Sabbath day.
Alright, Chris, what'd you put?
I just put honor the Sabbath.
Okay.
Well.
So when's the
Yeah.
Sabbath?
isn't it technically Saturday?
Yeah.
Sabbath is
Yeah.
actually Saturday initially, so why do we go to church on Sundays?
Because
we're-
it was
For-
there.
because we're hipsters. We just
Yeah, just
I don't think I've ever heard that answer.
really.
No, not for that question. I've heard,
Oh.
yeah. No, the reason why we do it is because that's when Jesus was born. Or when he's born, not
Oh.
when he's raised again. When he's raised again, it's on the first day of the week. So we're honoring him. Because Sabbath literally means to rest. That was the whole point, is God wanted to set aside a day to where they could rest and spend time with him. Which getting that time of rest is still good. But one of the things it shows the picture of is under the old law, you had to work and you were still no way you were going to actually gain favor with God because our best falls short of God, right? So basically what we see with Jesus is he is our rest, he is our Sabbath, because we no longer have to work because it's been freely given to us if we accept it. Does that make sense a little bit? So like every day in some ways is the Lord's day now because we're in that permanent rest of no longer having to strive to be right with God because it's that free grace that God has given us. Does that make sense? Okay. So we choose to work to go to church on Sundays just because it's an honoring of when Christ when he rose again. Okay. But I don't know that I think Sunday's the best day, but the point is you're having that time set aside to be with God. And it is important to have that, okay? Alright, so let's continue. But as we continue, we're now transitioning away from the 4 commandments that deal with God to the 6 that deal with people. Why do you think he deals first with the 4 that deal with God, and then he talks about the other 6?
Because
Why does he
God
do that?
should
way
be our
more important.
priority.
God's more important? Okay. Any other reasons?
He should be our priority instead of you should please him before you should please others.
Okay, because remember, that's the reason why we're created, is to have relationship with God. It's for his honor and glory that we exist. I do think that is by far the best reason. Another reason why I think it is is because in order for us to have correct relationship with everybody else, the easiest way to do that is if our relationship with God is right first. Does that make sense? If we're in right relationship with God, it is so much easier to get along with everybody else. I've noticed that when I'm really in the Word and I'm reading and spending time in prayer with Him, dealing with those people that bug me is so much easier. Because the thing is, our love is conditional. Like, we love people based on if they do good things for us and if they're nice to us. God's love is unconditional. Doesn't matter what you do, He still loves us. So what happens is we're in a correct relationship with Him, He's giving us that love, and then we can pour that out to everybody else. But if it's just about us, and it's based on how we can love, it's going to be hard to love or even like those people that are mean to us or say bad things about us or whatever. But that's the thing, is when we're in a correct relationship with Him, it makes everything else that much easier. Okay? Alright, so now let's look at these next few verses. Does anybody want to read these?
Honor your father and your mother.
Oh.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
There is more.
Yes.
That your days may be long upon the land which the Lord your God has given you. You shall not murder. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal.
Shall not.
You should. Oh, I have to read all this?
Yeah.
Yeah, keep going.
Okay. You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. You shall not covet your neighbor's house. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife, nor his male servant, nor his female servant, nor his ox, nor his donkey, or anything that is your neighbor's.
Or his donkey.
My
These are like the best things they have. Like, this is their flat screen TVs, their ox and their donkey.
His
Like, that's
donkey.
that's what you would covet. That's what you would want, is your neighbor's donkey. So that's why they're pointing it out.
Better example, Corvette.
Corvette, there you go.
Oh.
No, Lamborghini.
Lamborghini,
Yeah.
okay.
There we go.
How about
Things have changed a little
A
bit
new
since then. We
Bugatti.
don't exactly
Stop
want
dying.
the same things, but
turn it off?
I can't.
it'll be fine. The point is, though, is that we, a lot of times, want what our neighbors want. So, all right, Brian, actually, if you're going to pull up Matthew 22, 39, 42 real quick. All right, somebody want to read this? Other than Eileen?
Yeah.
I was about to read what you
Okay, go.
interrupted me, but
Go ahead.
and the same. This is what I'm talking. And the second is like it. You
Yeah.
shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets.
Right. So remember, this is a continuation of Jesus' answer when they asked what's the greatest commandment. He says, love the Lord your God. Then he says, you shall love your neighbors yourself. So basically, again, he sums up the first 4 commandments. Now he's summing up the rest of the 6. Because if you do that and you love the Lord or love your neighbors yourself, you're going to do those 6 commandments we just read. Okay. So you can go ahead and list that there if you want. And then go ahead and Brian will pull them back up. Go ahead and then list in your own words the last 6 commandments. You got them all?
Don't kill.
All right. So what'd y'all put on
Do not
5?
covet. What?
Did I miss one?
5 should be, or yeah, 5 should be honor your.
Okay, I can just 2 up there, man. I have honor parent, don't kill people, don't commit adultery, don't lie, don't
Miss,
covet.
don't steal. Steals after adultery. All right. So what'd y'all put on number 5?
Don't steal.
Honor your mom and dad.
Respect your parents.
Respect. And I like that too because it's not only just listening to them; it's giving them the respect they deserve too.
I just
So
want to put parents in there because not everyone has mothers and fathers.
and that's true. That is
Guardians.
true. Whoever those
Yeah.
people
Guardians.
are, whoever are those people in your life that are kind of serving that role, it's not even just about being obedient to them. It's about respecting them. So in other words, like when they're telling stories or something that maybe it's not all that interesting, maybe showing
So
a little bit,
no.
showing a little bit of interest. It's
That's nice, Grandma.
it's
That's
beyond.
My grandma, all she talks about is government stuff.
Yeah.
That's the good stuff to talk
That's
about.
what
I don't care about the government.
As
I can care
children,
less.
we should not have to suffer from hearing that.
But anyways, but the point is that you should show that respect to it. And I don't think it's a coincidence that's the first of the 6 commandments they list about dealing with people. Because I think having that proper relationship with your family is so important to the overall success of society and community too. Okay, so really is important. And in the verse it talks about so your life will be long. I think that a lot of it is you're a kid growing up. If you take the advice of your parents, you may avoid a lot of really dumb mistakes. Because especially with guys, we do stupid things that kill us off early because we're idiots sometimes. And if we listen to our parents, we may avoid some of those stupid mistakes, okay? So listen to your parents though. Alright, what'd y'all put on 6?
Do not murder.
Do not murder.
Don't kill.
Don't kill people.
Don't kill. Hopefully we don't have an issue on this subject. But actually though, do y'all know what Jesus said about this?
It's
Not
okay
being
sometimes.
assassin.
No, what?
Do not be an assassin.
I don't think those words ever came out of Jesus' mouth. No, what he said though is he said, because when Jesus came, he didn't come to get rid of the law. He actually made it that much harder. Because he said, if you have hateful thoughts towards your brother in your heart, brother, anybody else, if you have hateful thoughts towards, that counts as murder. So like if you hate
That's murder.
somebody,
No.
that counts as murder.
I guess I
So
murdered.
we may be in a room full of murderers right now,
Oh.
right?
I think we are.
I know. But see, that's the thing. That's showing how
Murderer.
high God's standard is. See, y'all thought y'all were okay on this commandment, but in reality, this may be one of your weaker commandments.
Yeah.
Because that's how tough God's standard is.
I
Many people
strongly
by murder.
dislike many people
You just strongly dislike many people.
with a passion.
Same.
Yeah, I dislike many people with the passion.
That's one of the things we need
Join
to
the
work
club.
on. Is we're supposed to love
I don't know if I
everyone.
can work
I
on
know.
that.
But okay, I don't like most humans.
Oh, snap.
I know one
Yeah.
person she doesn't like.
But see, here's the thing: is sometimes, Eileen, sometimes it's hard to like people. But the thing is, it's also hard for God to. You would think it would be hard for God to love us because you see all those other problems with other people. Sometimes
Yeah.
we're unlovable like that, but God still loves us, and that's how we should reciprocate that to everybody else. Okay. All right. So what do we all got on 7?
Don't
Not-
commit adultery.
All
Do
right.
not commit adultery.
I don't know how to reword that.
Like,
That
don't
pretty
get
much
with
sums
somebody
up.
else's wife
Well,
That-
why
Or
is it always the
husband.
wife?
or husband.
It's always the wife.
That's just because it was a male dominated.
I
So there's
know.
the way
They
it's
don't
written,
have very
just
many
the way it
women
works.
just trying
All
to
right,
like.
8. I'm not going to really talk about that a lot. 8.
Don't
Just-
steal.
Don't
Do
steal.
not steal.
Don't
Okay.
take things that don't belong to you.
Don't take things that belong to you. Okay. All right. What about 9?
Do
Don't
not
lie.
Don't
Or
lie.
Don't
Which,
bear
false witness, which basically comes down to don't lie. And again, it's those being deceitful. I forgot who said it. Said the cruelest lies are often told in silence. So anytime you intentionally mislead people, that's what it's talking about. Which
Oh gosh.
Oh my goodness.
so we're seeing how
I've
much
done
we're
so many.
struggling at the
Ah.
end. All right. And
I'm
what
just gonna
about
like star these. Like,
what about 10?
No.
This-
How did I do that?
don't
I don't know.
don't covet.
Oh, it's almost 7:30.
It is?
Yeah, we'll be done just a second. Okay, what's 10?
What is that?
Pancake? Did I
Mom.
do this?
All right, what'd y'all put for 10?
Don't covet.
Don't covet. Well, that means just don't envy. Don't be like jealous towards other people. Not donkeys and oxes today, but whatever it is that you want that somebody else wants. Because the thing is God alone should be sufficient for us. Like just having that close relationship with God, that should be the only thing we need. So when we're saying we really want all this other stuff, that's saying, God, you're not enough for me. I want these other things also. Okay. All right, and since we're pretty much out of time, we're not gonna get through all this. So just let me ask you this one last question to finish up. Why do we have the law? Like, why does God give the law to
Where
people?
are we
Because the thing,
gonna
hold on.
To make
Because the
them
thing is, though, remember, He's trying to bring us back into right relationship with Him, right?
Yes.
So in order to do that, we have to be perfect. There can be no sin.
Oh.
Now, what have we just established?
I've murdered many people.
We've
Same
all,
here.
we have all sinned a lot, right? So why have the law? What's the purpose of having the law if we can't be made perfect through the law?
So that we might
So that
have
it's not
that.
more chaotic.
Okay, but no, in regards to God redeeming us and bringing us back to Him, how does the law fit into that? Why do we have the law?
So we can strive for perfection.
But we can't make it.
It's crooked, isn't it?
They just shove it in our face that we can't.
But that's what it serves as. It serves as a mirror. We don't realize, no, hold on. We don't realize how far short we fall until we look into the law and we see, wow, there's no way I can measure up to God's standard. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So what is that pointing us towards?
To be a better person.
My arm.
No, because we can't.
Telling
We're
us that we're really bad people.
Okay, so what do we need then?
God.
Savior.
We need a Savior. That's what the law is doing. The law is showing us how perfect God is and how imperfect we are and how short we fall, right? And what it's pointing us towards is Jesus. We can't possibly save ourselves, so we need a Savior. Like when you go to a mirror to see if your face is dirty, right? You don't then take the mirror and rub your face to clean yourself, right? That would be stupid. What you're seeing is you need something else to clean you, right? You need something else to wipe your face. Okay, so that's what the law is serving as. You don't use the law to save yourself. I shouldn't have said that. No, I've lost y'all now.
Yeah.
But that's what, as crazy as that is, trying to save yourself just by following the law is not possible. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's pointing us towards Jesus. Obviously, we should strive to live by the commandments because that's what God wants us to do. But in regards to our salvation, we can't do it. It's pointing us towards Jesus, okay?